possible. I
Yeah,
got it.
here
Okay.
we go. So, hello, and thank you first to Brian for joining me
Thanks for
today.
having me.
Thank you to everyone who will be able to join us. I know between time zones, work, and life, not everyone's able to get here during the live. So, a big thank you, as always, to Team Rewatch. Much appreciated. So, for those who do not know Brian, aka Bookish, aka Rage Biscuit, which is so funny because I do remember meeting you initially as Rage Biscuit, and then I'm
Yep.
like, this is Bookish guy. And it's it's the same guy.
I think Gareth came up with that name, so
Yeah, probably. He gets quite creative with
he
things,
does.
Gareth.
He does.
So for people who may not know, can you tell us a little bit about your channel, your content, your direction, and how'd you become a booktuber?
I became a booktuber because I got tired of making fishing videos online. My first YouTube channel was a fishing channel where I would go out and do bass fishing from the bank, and I like that. I still like to fish. I don't do it nearly as much as I used to, but uh, the filming those videos was just so time consuming. It's like 2 or 3 hours out in the sun. Then you have to come back, and nobody wants to see you not catch fish. So you'd be surprised. Like I could catch 5 fish. Well, that's like 7 minutes worth of video. So you have to edit like hours down to just a few minutes, and it was just if you didn't catch anything, you didn't have any video to make. So I just thought, this is fun. Hey, Garrett, this is fun. I'll do it. But then I realized there was these people online talking about books. I thought, let me try BookTube. I already had the camera, already kind of used to the editing. And so I just did that. And then I stopped making fishing videos and just make videos primarily about books. My political opinions do show up. I do make strictly political videos. My BookTube career coincides more or less with the presidencies of Trump, which have had me out there quite a bit saying things about the current state of politics. So it's mostly books, though. Now, I think we're at the point now, and we'll talk about this later, where I'm not sure there's anything that I can add to the discourse which is going to make it in any way. I think people know now. That's what I would say. So I've been making fewer political videos now lately. So, but I feel one coming.
There's always new people and new viewers.
That's true.
And I think it's great that, there's a reasonable, educational voice out there because your videos always are quite informative. I mean,
I appreciate that.
Well, I'd rather listen to you and watch you than watch the news. Honestly.
I don't really watch the news. I like you. I have YouTubers. I have political podcast YouTube channels that I watch for news now. So until YouTube starts taking away their independence, that's the best place to get independent journalism is to find it on a platform like YouTube.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Julie, thanks for joining us. And Gareth, seriously, though, it is great to see you.
Thank you.
I'm very honored to have you. I'm like a little teeny channel, and you're big, big, big.
I think I think that my number of subscribers overstates my presence here. So I haven't watched the Louis Theroux Manosphere film, but I definitely want to. So maybe next week.
Know that. You're familiar with it, Brian?
I am. I've watched a lot of videos and been disgusted by the Manosphere for quite some time. So I'm looking forward to what I hope is a pretty thorough takedown of the. I'm trying to think of a nice word for the people who make Manosphere content. They're all, I would say, ass clowns who make Manosphere content. And so I'm looking forward to seeing the movie, but.
Well, that'll be interesting. So, how long have you been? Hey, Pat. Pat just popped in. How long have you been doing YouTube? Like you say, started with fishing and then transitioned.
I was still teaching when I started my fishing channel because most of my subscribers were my students for a while.
Nice.
Yeah, and I don't know. Let's see. I know I started before I retired. I retired in 2020. I want to say I started into the summer of 2018, maybe the summer of 2019,
So
somewhere
you've
in
been
there.
at this for a while.
A little while. Now it hadn't been 10 years yet, but it's getting close to 10 years. So yeah.
Yeah, see, that's rare, at least from the group that I've met. I mean, I know Nicole is just past year number 9.
Mhm.
Um, I can't think of any other booktubers who are close to 10. Alan's been at it for a while, Big
I
Hard
think
Books.
Alan and I started almost at exactly the same time. I want to
Yeah,
say because I was we were each one of each other's first, in that first 200 or 300 followers, I imagine. So
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, it really does transition. And I mean, people
Right.
leave for different reasons. One, like you were saying with the fishing, and I've noticed that with some of my yard
Mhm.
videos. I mean, I know people enjoy it. I throw the camera on, go out, do my thing. But then to put up that maybe 10, 20 minutes, I've
Right.
already spent 2 hours outside. Then I have to
Exactly.
look at the 2 hour video and decide what do I cut out because some of it's bird song. So, of course, I want
Mhm.
to keep that in there. And if the little groundhog or somebody's scooting around as I'm working,
Mhm.
but that means having to watch the whole two
Yeah.
hours. So you've spent 5 hours for 20 minutes that if you're really lucky, 20 people have watched. And
Right.
some of you might even watch start to finish.
Right.
It's
I made vlogs. I make a vlog every once in a while, but the same reason we were talking about, I don't make vlogs because the only way I can make a vlog is to say, okay, I'm going to film myself making a cup of coffee because everybody has a cup of coffee making somewhere or tea in their vlog. So I would film myself make a cup of coffee. And so I would make the cup of coffee anyway. I just set up the camera to film it. Well, that's like a 2 minute clip. And I
yeah,
just found myself filming myself doing things that I was already doing, but intentionally setting it up in 2 minute clips. I go, well, that's fake as hell. I'm not really just sitting here reading. I'm sitting here like filming myself reading so I can put it in a vlog about me reading. So and it was just and still like you said, it's still a lot of time to put together. And very few people actually want to watch a long vlog. And sometimes I don't mind doing things like that.
yeah,
If I'm writing or something like that, I make a writing vlog. Those were more genuine than most of my other vlogs probably were, because anyway. But
yeah,
yeah. So I just stopped. I mean, basically what you get now is like what you see in the screen right now. Me talking about something in front of whatever background I happen to decide to film in front of. So
yeah, yeah. And
it,
Gareth saying, vlogs I do never film myself reading. It's weird.
it
Well,
is.
and I've been kind of chuckling, and I was saying to my husband, because I've got a chair that's low to the ground because I have back issues, and I've always sat weird to begin with. So I would always sit on the floor with my feet in the chair. It would drive
Mhm.
my dad nuts. He's like, "What? Why can't you just sit the other way?" And I'm like, "Because it's not comfortable." So I have these silly fins mermaid outfit, which it's funny, I bought it, it's supposed to be for a kid. The thing comes up to here on me. The kid would be like
Yeah.
totally lost in there. But I'm like, I should just fold that chair out because then I can sit right up against the wall. So my butt will be against the wall, my fins will be up, and I'll just have a book and, do a
Yeah.
reading vlog like that. But I mean, I
Uh,
haven't done it because I mean, I not anyone from the group that I know now, but eons ago there was someone I came across and they had all kinds of vlogs of them like laying on their bed reading and in the chair and I'm like, yeah, that I would be so self-conscious reading while the camera's running
yeah,
because
because
sometimes
you
you
know
get
what's
an itchy
happening.
nose.
And then when you go back and edit, you go, man, it took me a long time to read that page.
Yeah,
You want to
exactly.
have like the page turns in there. You're like, okay. Anyway, so I started with. I do like watching people's vlogs if they go outside or if they're around there because I like seeing where people live.
Yeah.
I like seeing like their bits of their house, the outside, the community they live in. Those kind of things fascinate me. So I do watch vlogs that do that. Most vlogs now are, hey, I'm going to read this book. And they sit in a chair and they read the book. And then there's like 5 minutes of them doing what we're doing right now, just sitting and talking about the book. Fine. But
Yeah.
then, you know, and they're like, why wouldn't I just like cut that part out? It doesn't really feel like a vlog to me. So anyway, that's why I don't do vlogs.
Well, and that makes, and I mean, that's why I've started, like, instead of the big gardening videos I used to do, I may still throw one up now and again, but I basically now do yard tours. Here's the backyard,
Yeah.
here's the front yard, and
Yeah.
it's way easier to put them together because I'm just
Right.
literally talking as I go. So unless a neighbor says something or, you know,
Mhm.
something like that, they're like easy peasy to put together. So
Right.
yeah, and it's always different because always something's in bloom or something's changed, or you know, nature's brought me plants and she never brings me tags, so I don't know what it is till it, you know, oh whoops, maybe I should have pulled that out, kind of thing. Or this year I learned bunnies pea blue,
Wow.
and
Didn't know
it's
that.
I didn't either. When I went out, because it was in the snow, I knew all the little nuggets weren't, you know, glossettes,
Yeah.
fertilizer. But then I noticed this patch of blue in the snow, and I'm like, okay, I'm in the way in the middle of the yard. So where did blue come from? And then I'm looking around, and I'm like, okay, it's near the little bunny nuggets. And I looked it up, and sure enough, they do pea blue after they eat a certain tree, the bark from it, and it turns out it's an invasive plant. So my
Oh.
bunnies have taught me I need to get rid of those trees because they're taking over here in Ontario.
Oh. All right.
If not for the bunnies,
Not for the
I
bunnies.
I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
Aw, thanks, Julie. But yeah, because it was this really wide, like a gorgeous shade of blue. But I'm like, where
Well,
did this come from?
not sure we have those trees, and it's never cold enough really here very often for bunnies to pee in the snow. So we
Well,
do
see,
have, where I live now, we do have a lot more wildlife. There are constantly deer and rabbits, and we don't have any raccoons and very few squirrels, so not many trees, but skunks, coyotes, stuff like that we hear quite a bit. And
yeah.
before they started building the house next to mine, there were always deer pellets in my yard and deer footprints on my sidewalks and stuff like that. So I wish that would start happening again, because I really like it when the deer come around, but I understand why they don't.
Yeah, well, it'd be gorgeous. Yeah, that's the one thing, because I'm quite far into the city. I'm like maybe 10 minutes from the core. I mean, the city's sprawling out much, much more, which is why we have coyotes.
Right.
Lots of coyotes
Yeah.
coming in because the farms are being turned into subdivisions, which drives me crazy because we have such fertile soil here. And if our government had some sense, they would be saving the farms and the farmers because, hello, Ontario, 14 million people. Dude, get over the alcohol and praising the orange man and like, let's focus close to home. But we'll get there in a little bit.
Hopefully so. Hopefully so.
Yeah. So we've talked about your channel. Now, your books. I'm very, even though, and you and I have shared this, I'm not a historical reader, as in well, I do ancient stuff. But your book is more current. I know I've heard you talk about, I've heard about one book, but do you have more than one?
Two,
Okay.
both, you know, one, a small college academic press biography of an American writer, World War I soldier, communist politician. His name was Thomas Boyd, which he was the focus of a lot of my graduate school research and work. And then, what was it? September of 24. Yeah. Second book, which was a military history of the 163rd Infantry Regiment, which my great uncle was a part of, which was the genesis of that story. And it's kind of like part here of the story of four men who are part of the regiment, and then part fairly traditional military history, like, this group went there and did that kind of thing, but mixed with the stories of these four men and their part in all those things. So when I originally wrote the book, I had it divided out by level so that it would be like drilling down to the experience of the soldiers. And when I sent it to publisher, and they said they'd publish, well, what the implication was that they would only publish it if I rewrote it more as a narrative history. And so I did, no problem.
Really?
My intention was to get the story out there. I originally started writing the book because it was important. That uncle was really important to my dad. And so I wanted to get the book out there and tell that story anyway. And so it didn't really matter to me. And, the idea of having it layered like that was just something that came to me. And, publishers know more than I do about what may or may not sell. So anyway,
Well, but
I was happy to
and
rewrite
so having it finished, well, first we'll quick say hi to Jenny. Hey.
Hi, Jenny.
So because you would have had to do some research and put it all together, and then you had your finished product. So how long would it have taken you to switch that into a narrative style? Because that would be very different, I would think.
We went to Scotland in 2022, 2023. And I'd sent the manuscript to the publisher. I'd gotten back a notice that they didn't want it. And that was the first publisher I'd sent it to. And they said they didn't want it. And while I was on vacation, I got an email. I hadn't checked my email because I'm on vacation. I was retired.
Yeah.
I don't check my email that often. And there was an email from an editor at the publisher, and she said they would want it if I redid it. And so we got home about this time of the year, March, and I had the manuscript converted by August of that year.
Oh, wow.
All the work, all the research stuff had been done. I just had to make decisions about where to move the stories of the men and how to kind of put all that together. I didn't have to change what was in each chapter. I had to change the organization of each chapter and then the connection from one chapter to the other. And so it was tedious, I would say. It could be really frustrating because I'm literally just like cutting and pasting and moving text and writing. And then, occasionally I get that wrong and I go, oh my goodness, where'd that come from? That kind of thing. But, having the idea that they would publish it if I did it was a pretty good spur to get me going. So it probably, I guess that's 5.5 months. And then I said, I have it done. Do you want to see it? And she said, yeah, sure. And I emailed it to her and she emailed me the contract like the next day. So
sweet.
I guess she was just waiting for me to make it like a narrative. And a lot of times I imagine with military history and that kind of thing, that the publishers take the book based on the idea and whether or not you can write a sentence, and they figure they can, if it's not, because the writing isn't necessarily the most important part from their point of view, that they can you working with the editor can shape it into whatever they want it to be, or whatever you want it to be. And after that, there really weren't very many changes. It was just basically, it was more than a proofread, but less than a full, what's the word for that? The kind of edit where they look at the thing overall. Anyway, there wasn't really much of a developmental edit after that. It was just about the writing and fixing some things. And I had to find pictures and write picture captions, and I had to do, because it's such a small military press, I had to do the index myself, which was, I'm never writing another work of nonfiction again because I never want to have to do the index. That's the second index I've written. And I didn't know that in writing military history, the index is, if it's U.S. military, that's the big heading. And then every military unit I talked about had to be listed under that where they fell within the military organization. That was such
wow.
I will never do that again. So I asked them if I could pay somebody to do it, and they said, yeah, we can pay somebody to do it, but it's probably more than you're going to make on the book. I was like,
oh, yikes. Yeah, because that would be quite detailed, and
it had to be particular. The editor, like who I worked with, I think we spent more time getting the indentations right on the
Oh,
index than we did on the actual doing things with the actual book. But God bless their patience. They were very, very kind, very professional people. It's really, really a joy to work with them. So
oh, that's lovely and awesome that the publisher picked it up. I mean, a
yeah,
lot of extra work, but yay for
yeah.
getting it out there.
I oftentimes feel bad. You know, this nothing I've written is a work of fiction that's been picked up by a major publisher, nothing like that. So, but I oftentimes feel guilty when people talk about their struggles with getting their book published. The first
Mm,
book I published, book I published about Thomas Boyd, I sent it to one publisher and they published it. And
nice.
the book that I just wrote about the 163rd, I sent to one publisher and they published it. So no agent, no, I didn't, I got rejected initially from the military history and then
Yeah.
somebody else decided, no, let's go ahead and do it. And so I kind of feel guilty when people talk about the struggle to get published, but it's not the same thing because, they were pretty
Well,
niche topics. So
and the thing is, it's meant to be. And in some ways, and Nicole and I were talking about this yesterday on the live when I had her on, is, you know, well, we were chatting at some point somewhere about with BookTube. Oh no, it was yesterday. And there's such a variety of people out there. There's so many out there. There are amazing content creators out there who struggle like crazy.
that's true.
And there are some others out there, and you're like, what? What am I missing? Because there's got to be something. Because it just,
Yeah, I know.
and then
There have been a number of those where I go, wow, and I'd be like, they'd make the BookTube newbie tag, and I'd be like, hey, see, I saw this. Welcome to BookTube. I
yeah,
hit subscribe, and then they'd have like 150 subscribers, and then like the second video you see, they're on like 9,000. I'm like,
yeah,
how did you do that? I've been this is me like 8 years, and I'm not at. I don't know where I'm somewhere. 11. Anyway, I'm in that range. I
yeah.
think, and most of my subscribers are people subscribe because of something I said about politics and not about books. And so, they don't watch really my book videos. And
Mm.
I have a feeling a lot of people subscribe for books don't watch my politics videos. So,
Well,
uh,
and again, like, and it's that you never quite know. I mean, I know some people come for some of my books, some are there for the cats, and some are there for the nature, and some are there for all three. But you don't always know
right,
because it's hit and miss. And I mean, not everyone has time to comment, or it depends where they're watching.
right,
If they're on the bus or, point A to point B
yeah,
on a train or something. And I mean, I found out when I happened to look in my mentions, I didn't even know someone had been watching for a while and they'd gone through a really dark time, and they'd come back, made a video, and went, thanks. These videos really helped me through. And I'm like, I had no idea because
right.
they hadn't commented. So that's why I've got my So if I'm looking at my starfish story up there, do you know that story?
About it matters to the guy who's going down the beach throwing the starfish back.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
so,
my wife has a starfish bracelet that she and her sister share for the same reason.
nice. And Greg, I will put up your question. Hello. But yeah, with the starfish, so I've put it up there because on those days when I'm like, what am I doing? Like April will be year 4, and I'm tippy toeing to 600. I don't know what happened with YouTube in the summer, but things went bonkers for a number of channels. Like,
Yeah,
it's not YouTube hates me. I've seen a bunch of channels who were having hundreds and hundreds of views, like just squeaking by. So something shifted then for sure. But I look at the starfish, I think of that mention, and it's like, yeah, as long as I'm doing okay and I can sit in front of the camera, because I'm not, you know, I've got my shirt, happiness is a state of mind, because, politics, so happy place. But I'm not going to get in front of a camera and fake it,
right,
because that's not me.
right,
So, if I'm in my happy place and I got a book haul or something to share, then woohoo, you know.
I think that I wonder if, and not to make a comment, assuming we're the same age, but I wonder if people who started like closer to my age, expectations was never virality. I never
Mm,
expected any video I made to go viral. I literally never expected to have 1,000 subscribers.
yeah.
Like when I was in my fishing channel, I did that for a couple of years, and I was only like 723. I kept thinking if I just get to 1,000, then I'd be monetized. And for some reason, I thought that would be something. Um, and it probably took me about a year on BookTube to get there. But I put up a video.
Nice.
Like when I started off, I did like a video like I did 3, 4 videos a week, just because
Mm,
that was what they told you to do. And I
yeah.
was really, really, like a lot of people who started, I was really excited and had lots of things I wanted to say about books, made
Yeah.
lots of videos. And so it grew that way. But the things that have caused my channel to grow are just like I made a video about Palestine which title was "I Was Wrong," and that's the video I have that's gotten the most views. And
Mm,
I turned monetization off on that video because I didn't want that video to be about
mm.
making money. Now I kind of wish I'd left it on and donated the money, which is
Oh, yeah.
that would have been maybe probably more useful, but I didn't. So
Well, but in hindsight, and there may be, you know, another one. Now I'm
yeah,
62. I was in my 50s when I started because, you know, my business didn't survive COVID. It wasn't
right,
taking off. Not exactly a great time to start a Reiki reflexology business, which is considered personal care, not
right.
alternative care. So
See,
I'm like, really, reflexology? You work on someone's feet for health benefits. I'm not even near their face, but you can have, you know, other
yeah,
people right up there, and
yeah.
that's oakley dokley, but yikers.
Sorry to hear that.
Hello. Hey, Margaret. Okay, so let's get to Greg's question.
Hey,
And
Greg.
hello. When were you teaching? What subject and what age group?
I taught for 31 years in the same town at the same school. I taught
Wow.
high school social studies, mostly American history, the last 20 or so years, but I taught economics, I taught government, I taught world history, I taught American history. I never taught geography. And I taught mostly juniors and seniors. The last 15, 17 years, I taught juniors exclusively, and a dual credit I taught dual credit classes where kids in my class got high school and college credit through a local community college. I did that for about 15
Nice.
years. And I'd had taught at local community colleges at night for a little while until I don't think it was covering my gas money to drive to
Mm,
do that. But one time, what I wanted to do was be a college professor, and then I ran into the reality of how that works, and that was never going to work for me. So I thought, well, maybe I could get on at a community college, and then found out that wasn't going to work for me either. So, but I enjoyed teaching high school juniors. Like the last 15 years I taught were awesome. I just had a good time. Didn't always have a good time before that, but I got really lucky in where I was and what I got a chance to do.
mm,
And to kind of the great thing about the dual credit class was that the kids were going to pass the state assessment in social studies because that's the kind of kids they were.
nice.
And they weren't necessarily smarter than other kids. They were just
Yeah.
harder working than other kids. They were more dedicated. So I had that. I didn't have to follow anybody else's lesson plans.
Mm,
I could do the class however I wanted to, and everybody left me alone. So for 15 years, I taught just exactly how I wanted to, the way I wanted to students who wanted, at least were there to get the credit and wanted to be there. And you can't
yeah.
really ask for a better teaching situation than that. So I don't regret not hitting colleges or being able to get to be a college professor because of that. I kind of got to do what I would have wanted to do as a college professor. And teaching gave me opportunity to research and write and
Mhm.
do booktube and things like that, which I found really rewarding. So, but I retired in 2020, right? Was the
Wow.
COVID pandemic year was my last year. So when we left, I think we left the beginning of March 2020. I never went back to the classroom, never went back to the room other than clean my room out.
Mm.
And I did miss getting to see those students because I really liked the classes I had that year. But other than that,
Yeah.
no regrets, no desire to go back. I don't substitute teach because I just I don't want to. I think I had such a good situation by teaching
Mm.
that everything else would seem, even a good day in a
Yeah.
substitute teacher role would seem like a bad day compared to what I had. And I always
Well,
thought, if I want to keep teaching, I'll just keep doing this because I could have done that for a lot longer. But
well, and because it'd be different because the rapport, like I
mhm,
worked as an EA for 23 years, wasn't lucky enough to be in the same building for very long. I
right,
kept getting redundant because low gal on the seniority pool and all
yeah,
that jazz. But when I was lucky enough to be in a school for 5 some odd years, that was gold.
right,
As one as an EA, I could follow the kids from grade 9 right to grade 12 because I was
mhm,
assigned to all kinds of classes. So you really get to know the student body,
right,
which is very different than walking in as a casual, either
right,
EA or as a teacher if it's a building, the kids don't know you.
right,
Um, but yeah, so that's sweet that you got to be in the
yeah,
same building for 31 years and doing
right.
something you enjoy.
And I made more money than I would have made as a college professor. So to be
Oh,
honest with you,
wow.
the college professor jobs I could have gotten if I'd been able to get a PhD would have ended up paying me less than I made. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
I'll have to
Well,
ask.
and so just to the place I could afford to go to get a PhD would have been the University of Houston. Fine school,
Okay.
great history department,
Yeah.
but you don't get hired to teach at the University of Houston with a PhD from the University of Houston. I mean, there are a few jobs like that, but most of the people who teach at the University of Houston have PhD from UT or from Harvard or from Ohio State or from Virginia or from a big California school. So
Yeah.
the college professor job I could have gotten would have been at a mid-tier state school. And mid-tier state schools, college professors, even if I gotten the job the year I thought I want to do this, I would have taken a
Yeah.
pay cut to do that job. So once we had kids, it was, I mean, you're just not taking a pay cut to move to a small place to be low man on the totem pole, teaching essentially
Yeah.
what I was teaching for less money. There's just, at some point practicality has to come into it. And
Well,
like I
and
said, I don't regret not doing it, but it was one of those things
yeah.
where reality goes, oh, no, that's not what we're going to do what you do.
Hmm.
But
Margaret has a question. Will you tell us the story of changing your channel from, there you go, Bookish to Bookish Texan?
that was stupidity. the
Ah,
story is the story is I'm stupid.
hey.
So I had the name Bookish was just the name of my channel, was just at Bookish or whatever it was. That was
Yeah.
it for a long time. And then at some point they gave you an opportunity. Um, at some point they gave us an opportunity to change your name. And I thought if I put Texan on there, maybe, that would be more unique. And so I put in Bookish Texan and I put it in. I said, okay, I want that name.
Yeah.
And it changed the name. And I'm like, I don't like that. I've been Bookish this whole time. So I tried to change it back. By the time I tried to change it back, the name was gone. I couldn't just be
Oh,
Bookish anymore. So
no.
anyway, so I still say, I still say, hello and welcome back to Bookish when I start my videos, but
Yeah.
it is Bookish Texan now. So that was just
Well,
me
because of
being
the
dumb.
handle.
Yeah, yeah, me being dumb. So is what happened. So if you do that thing like where you're tagging people in your videos, and you
Yep.
hit add Bookish, you
Yep.
have to go choose the Bookish Texan one where it used to just be Bookish. Anyway,
Bookish.
so I don't know if that helped or hurt channel growth at all, but it was one of those moments where I thought, oh, maybe that would help channel growth, and so I just did it without thinking about it, and then I couldn't change it back. It was very
Well,
very
see,
disappointing.
and it's interesting because I remember when I was still like way tiny and relatively new when that whole handles and thing
Mhm.
was coming out. And of course, the bigger channels got to pick names first.
Yeah,
Um, and when I started my channel, I had called it Cobalt Dragon. And then I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's like, "Well, you're talking books and that. Maybe you should change it to something else." So then I had Elaine Online.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of went with that and was plodding along. And then handles came out. And didn't someone have Elaine Online? I'm like, what? How is that? I haven't seen any other channel, but the handle was
Right.
gone. And I thought, well, I don't want a channel name with a different handle name. So just for poos and giggles, sorry, I decided I'm going to try Cobalt Dragon.
I
And
like the name.
the handle was there. So I'm like, boom, universe decided that's what I should be. So channel name and handle are the same because,
I
yeah, it
sometimes
can get confusing.
I sometimes wish I'd done my name as my channel name, but I didn't. Even when I was did the fishing channel, my fishing channel's name was the Old Bastard, and I didn't
Nice.
choose my name because I didn't want parents and students to find and see my political stuff, or
Hmm.
if I just didn't want that. And then my kids found my fishing channel anyway, so it didn't really matter. And by the time I was really doing BookTube, it didn't matter anymore. But anyway,
Yeah.
uh, I'm sure there's somebody with my name. It's not an uncommon name. Somebody with my name already has a YouTube channel somewhere. So, but
Well,
yeah,
see,
that's the embarrassing story of how I lost my cool
oh,
bookish name.
yeah, those handles made, well, like I say, I'd never seen a channel with it. I'm like, who is this person? I'm almost
Yeah.
tempted to just leave a comment and find out who has it, but that's just me being silly. Margaret would like to know, did you become the champion of extracurriculars?
Any extracurricular activities? It depends on. No, I don't think I ever became the champion of any extracurricular activities. When I was in, I didn't sponsor anything. I sponsored one club the whole time I was a high school teacher. I never coached anything. Thank goodness.
Didn't take him
I
fishing?
No, well, other than fishing, I guess was, but I like some people. Every once in a while, some people I worked with would want to be on my fishing channel. So a couple of football coaches, I took them out fishing and stuff like that, and made videos with them, which kids thought was funny. Um, but extracurriculars, I really, other than wiffle ball in college and a lot of activities that involve drinking while you were doing them. I don't think you can really be champion of, you know,
Didn't
you,
record those though, right?
yeah, no, I know, college, there were no cameras back then anyway. So my friends and I also had what we called an Arctic golf tournament, where the coldest day we could find, we try to go play as many holes of golf as we could. And we're kept warm by libations primarily, and the golf suffered a tremendous amount. But no extracurricular champions. I will say that my daughter and my son are both far better athletes and champion quality in lots of things, academic and otherwise, than I
Nice.
was. My son came in third in the state social studies test competition, and my daughter was a college athlete. So
Good
but
for
that's because my
them.
wife's family is very athletic. So
There you
all
go.
the G's came from my wife.
Nice. So Gareth would like to know, do you think your years of teaching has informed what your YouTube channel is like?
I think that I am pedantic. So yeah, I think that having been a teacher, I kind of come off as delivering lectures. I think oftentimes what I would say is that
Really? See, I find you just speaking naturally when I've watched your
well, I think I'm
videos.
just a natural pedant. What I would say that is that, and I'm sure this is true for you too, Gareth, that being in front of young people will
Hmm.
pretty much cure you of any kind of stage fright. Like the first time I turned the camera on and talked to the camera, like it didn't phase me at all. I was like, okay, that's not a problem, because you stand in front of a bunch of really judgmental 16 and 17-year olds all day, every day. Then you pretty much can take anything. And I think the same thing is true with comments. I get very rarely do I get
Hmm.
comments which actually are offensive or bother me in any way, and partly it's because I've had kids say worse things to
Mm.
my face, and say it to my face and not even realize they're being rude because they're just
Uh,
kids. They didn't know, you know. So
yeah.
I used to like for telling myself, but I wore the exact same outfit essentially every day that I taught. I wore a polo shirt and a pair of khaki or gray pants every day, every
Yeah.
day. And my kids would be like, Mr. Reese, why don't you ever wear anything different? I said, because I'm tired of people talking about what I got tired of people talking about what I was wearing. I said, so if I just wear the same thing every day, you have nothing to talk about other than the
Oh,
fact that I wear the
goodness.
same thing every day. And so I just considered it a uniform. I just wore the same thing, essentially the same outfit every day. And I said, I would also say what male teacher do you have who wears something vastly different than what I'm wearing right now? They're like, oh,
Yeah.
they all wear the same thing, but they change it up every once. So I was like, all right, well, I don't. So
Now, I'm guessing this had to do with the teaching,
maybe, yeah.
which is so unfortunate that, but see, here's another thing that's different between the countries because we have college and university,
Mhm.
but in America, you have college.
And some of our colleges are universities, and some of our, yeah, we mix the two together so they're the same thing. So I don't
Yeah.
even know, what do you consider college in Canada? Is it
Well,
like
see,
11th and 12th grade, or is it
no, no,
what
no.
we would consider to be community college, like a junior college type thing?
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Our community colleges are basically diploma programs, so 2 or 3 year
Yeah.
programs.
Yeah.
Our universities are 3 4 year degrees, so your bachelor's,
Right.
master's,
Ours is
PhD.
the same in that regard. Our community colleges are primarily, you get what they call an associate's degree, and most people who go there go for one of two reasons. Either one, they're essentially using that school as a trade school,
Yeah,
and they get an associate's degree in a trade, which is great. I think lots of people should do that. Doesn't
yeah,
say anything about your intelligence if you have a degree, a trade degree. Matter of fact, it probably says you're pretty damn smart.
yeah,
But then the others are people who go there because it's a cheaper way to get the first 2 years of university done. So you take the basic intro classes. That's what I taught at high school. Take those
okay.
basic intro classes, then you transfer to a 4 year school, and you come in as like a late sophomore, junior transfer, and then you finish your
Okay.
degree at the school. So it's an economical way to get credits out of the way, which is really, I think, why those schools survive. If that wasn't true, I'm not
Mm,
sure the way things are in Texas or the United States, we would fund them enough even for that trade school purpose. But one of the things I think has gone wrong in schools in the United States and Texas is we stopped having a lot of trade programs. My son was telling me in his district, he teaches too, that they
mm,
actually do have trade school where they have cosmetology, they have like a welding class, they have audit. And we used to have all
yep,
those things. I thought those were the best, those are the best
yep,
things. There are lots of people whose interest is in doing something that's not academic, and that helps them, earn a living, make money,
yep.
support themselves, and they're great jobs. They could be great jobs. And I don't know when we decided to demean those kinds of things here in the United States, but we definitely did to our detriment.
Well, sadly, here in Ontario, I can't speak to the other provinces, but when I left the board, I was working in a vocational high school. And sadly, what they'd done is close one of the vocational high schools
Mhm.
and mash it into one. And then eventually they just closed that one,
Yeah.
which was ridiculous because we had a number of schools throughout the system where the students were coming from. Like both schools at one time had populations of over 500 students each.
Right.
And these were the kids, excuse me, these were kids who were struggling learners, but amazing hands on
Yeah.
workers. And they would finish, like they had academics in their tech classes. I love the timetable because the mornings were the seniors all in the trade classes. So they had woodworking, cosmetology, chef training, baking,
Mhm.
hospitality and management,
Yeah.
mechanics, all of that kind of stuff. And so the seniors were on the main floor during the morning, and their class was the entire morning, and they had a 15-minute break. The juniors, the grade 9s and 10s, were upstairs for their academic classes. You know, they had 3 classes, so their English, all of that, history, geography. And then it flipped. So in the afternoons, the seniors were all
Right.
upstairs doing their academics. The juniors were downstairs switching between their tech classes because it wasn't a full morning for them. But for the seniors, that morning was like a job. And then
Right.
twice throughout the school year, they went out on work placements, and a bunch of them got part-time jobs,
Yeah.
which they carried on with until graduation and then became full-time. But some yucks here decided no more vocational schools in Ontario. I don't think we have any. I mean, we've got our community colleges.
Right. That's,
We
yeah.
don't have those high schools. And so now
Yeah.
those kids who struggle with mental health and anxiety and everything else can't handle going to a building with 1,000 to 2,000 people, including the kids that bullied them in public school, now aren't even going to classes.
Right.
Whereas with these other schools where they could get bused to, it was a smaller population, you know, they had staff, everyone had training in special education. I mean, that was part of being in that building, whether you were a teacher or an educational assistant, you had that additional training. But here we are, as they say.
Yeah, we just decided that that everybody needed to go to college because I just wish that in education we would just, and I hate to sound like a conservative. This is the only place where I probably will sound like a conservative. I think we should just teach what we used to teach, you know, and I don't think anything we can do in public education long term is what employers are going to want, because that changes too fast. We can't keep up. We don't have the money to change as rapidly as the business world changes. So why don't we teach our kids how to think, how to read, how to write, how to do math, how to work with one another, and then you go off in college, whatever, get, you know, your degree, your trade school thing, and the employer will take care of the rest. That's the way it should be. And the fact that it isn't really bothers me.
Well, and I agree. I mean, if they can't read right, and some people, and I actually got into a debate with one of my former coworkers about this, because like, well, they have technology. Why do they have to do spelling and this? And I'm like, because technology breaks down. I worked in a tech lab, and I would insist that some days kids worked at the desk, not at the computer. I'm like, you have to have both skill sets.
Right.
Because if the technology goes down, you're not going home for the day getting paid.
Right. Well, to me, the thing with the technology, in addition to what you said, is that somebody controls technology and they make money from controlling the technology. And if you only see what the people control the technology want you to see, then you're going to think what the people with money want you to think. That's what happens. And that's, to me, one of the reasons why AI is so terrifying, because they can manipulate those algorithms to show you what they want to show you. You know, when Elon Musk had them change Grok, his AI that was associated with Twitter, they went too far to the right and was returning all this pro-Nazi stuff. And they had to like dial it back because it was answering all these questions, all this terrible Nazi propaganda and stuff like that. If they can, you know, if that, to me, indicated they're manipulating that, and they're manipulating the answers, they're manipulating the algorithm. I don't want to sound paranoid or anti-technology at all.
No, I don't think you are.
I do think we have to, you know, educate ourselves not to be as dependent, to use it like a tool to do the things that it makes actually easier, and not do the things that we should be doing that are harder. So, and, you know, as soon as and I don't think they'll ever have, and that's why the trade school thing to me is so important, because AI is not eliminating an electrician's job. It's not, you know, it's going to eliminate lower level corporate desk jobs, you know, research jobs, data jobs, people who produce reports jobs. That's where it's going to go if it goes. But anyway, sorry, off on an AI tangent there.
Yeah, but
What?
that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
the
You
conversation goes wherever here, so
yeah,
it's all good.
you're definitely going to need a plumber, an electrician, and all those other kinds of people. And those are good.
Yep,
Those are good jobs. Those are smart people. And a lot of those people read. A lot of those
yep,
people who have trade jobs are readers. You
yep.
just think, I think that there's just this snobby idea that readers only come with a college degree, and that's just
Yeah.
absolutely not true.
Oh,
Absolutely not true.
the
So,
kids that I worked with, learning challenges and everything aside, and some were resistant readers,
mhm.
but there were some who loved reading. The
Yeah,
debates we would get into about Twilight, those sparkly vampires aren't vampires, read Dracula, and but we
right.
had and I ended up reading a bunch of YA to have discussions with
Yeah,
kids. I mean, it's why I read Percy Jackson and Twilight and Harry Potter and all of that
right.
is, I mean, even with struggling readers. And I was saying, I laugh now because the program, because I worked my last few years, well, between classrooms, but for a few years, I had a resource room and it was the kids using technology and a program called Kurzweil, which would read text for them and they could fill in answers on the worksheets because I prepared all the stuff for them. And it was hilarious. Some of the kids would like kick and say, I'm not stupid. I don't need the machine to read for me, Bib. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And others loved it because
Yeah,
you could see the text would highlight. So they were paying attention, listening to it, which was helping them remember the words. And now I crack up when I've been at some reading sprints and people are talking about this immersive reading, which is listening to something as they read the
right.
book. I'm like, oh, where are those kids now? Like these adults can all read and they're loving the
Yeah,
experience. But these kids, well, again, because the way other kids behaved and this and that, um, to them, that was, well, you're calling me stupid because I need to
right.
use tech. And there was one kid that I remember, and his English teacher brought him to the resource lab. He didn't have it on his IEP to use tech, but the room was available to anyone. Some kids had their own tech through special education, but he wasn't one of them. And this poor kid's just sobbing his heart out. He couldn't read, and he wanted to read so bad, grade 9. And so, I showed him the program and you can come down here, just ask your teachers and yada yada. And he like ate it up like crazy. And he and I had quite a rapport and we were chit-chatting and I'm like, so how did you get to grade 9 and you can't read, sweetie? Well, my EAs did everything for me. I'm like, and how did that work out for you? Not so good. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, those EAs really tick me off because I get it meant you didn't throw a tantrum and trash a
Right.
room,
Right.
but in the long run,
Those are hard jobs. Those
uh,
are hard jobs.
well, but there's some amazing kids that you meet. So
Right.
Jenny's saying you should just change to Rage Biscuit.
Maybe I should just restart my politics channel and change the name to Rage Biscuit on that
There
one.
you
That might.
go. Well, see, the other Brian must be something with changing names. He was on Dave and Gareth's a few weeks ago, and when they
Mhm.
had said Brian was going to be on, I thought they meant you.
Yeah.
And it was a different Brian. And then for the longest time, I'm watching and I'm watching, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Brian. He's changed, like he changes his name every few months. I'm like, dude, stop it. I don't know who this is.
Yeah. Well.
So apparently, oh, isn't available now. So you were so good at it, you broke it.
I guess so. Weird. Huh, all right.
Laughing at Jenny. I mean, the leader, like debate.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
there you go, debate coach or something.
Nope. Nope.
Manga.
Nope. I did was the sponsor for the oh shoot, what was the name of it? It was the club where there's a specific name and it's an organization. I can't remember, but it was the Gay Straight Alliance Club. I sponsored that club for a couple of years, and they met in my room.
Nice.
But I didn't have a lot to do. Uh, that's the only thing I think I sponsored. Oh
Mm.
no, I sponsored. I
See?
sponsored when I was young. I was a young and inexperienced teacher, probably on like year 3. I sponsored a club called the Horseshoe Club, which was about playing horseshoes, literally throwing
Yeah.
horseshoes. And so they put all these signs up around camp. They asked me if I'd do it, and I said, "Yeah, okay," because I had met horseshoes. High school kids are going to play horseshoes. So they advertised around campus that we were going to have our first meeting and to come to my room at like after school, 3:45 one day. And I had a regular sized classroom, and there were 160 kids who joined the Horseshoe Club. So I was the sponsor of the biggest club on
Wow.
campus for a while, and they collected money and they bought horseshoes and like we had a big horseshoe tournament
Nice.
one day. Yeah. And then the club just kind of ceased to exist. So it didn't
Aw.
last very long. Thank goodness.
Well, but hey, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool that
Yeah. It was very stressful though, because, when you're a
lots
sponsor
a
and you have
lot
after
of
school thing, you're like responsible for whatever
yeah.
happens. So I was lucky that our
No one
horseshoe
got
tournament
clocked with a
came
horseshoe.
off without a hitch. Yeah. Well, I was really more worried about other things happening during horseshoe club time. So
So Greg, being his usual joker self, wanted to be book songs and other magic.
that is a great name. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Careful.
I thought that as soon as I said it, Mark.
Yeah, that enunciation is
Yeah. You want to make
everything.
sure yeah,
Yes, and I agree. You learn a lot
you
from
do.
students for sure. Speaking of yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. I didn't want, YouTube to do whatever they do because I can't remember. Was it on YouTube or it's on one of the other social media things? As soon as you put that cretin's full name on, it kind of loses you in cyber. So I'm like, I'll put up and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
The Obama School of Fashion. Okay, the pants and
Dressed so they
polo.
can't have anything to talk about. Never
Yeah.
wore a tan suit, never wore a suit, never wore a tie, never wore a jacket.
Oh, Elaine, that's another. Oh, okay. Between Canada, UK, I'm thinking the schools, maybe college,
That's what I mean.
university. Started college as a music education major. First time I got in front of a junior high school, freaked out and changed my major. Now, see, with Greg, though, you can never be sure whether he's messing with you or he's serious. Critical thinking. Yeah, wouldn't it be awesome if, years ago, growing up, you called it common sense. It's been decades. I call it rare sense now. Common sense went out the window, but we need it back. Hey, Constance. And yeah, and it would be nerve wracking being in a band, especially if you're in front of a crowd. And I couldn't, I couldn't do it. Musicians. Gareth is up in front of new
Yeah.
people all the time. It's a huge skill for
My
sure.
my son is teaching middle school this year for the first year, so it's been different.
Learning.
He taught high school at a really economically disadvantaged high school for 2 years, and he's really good
Mm,
at it. He's a really good teacher, but he has
nice.
been. It's been a challenge to adjust to middle school students, but he's doing it. He's got it.
Good.
He'll have it down next year, for
Awesome.
sure.
Well,
So,
and again, new things. And once you get that student rapport, and the
mhm.
students are a
And
huge help.
one of the things I think that one of the mysteries of teaching is that students have a sixth sense for who's new.
Oh, yeah.
You're new, they just like feel it. And even if they
Yeah.
don't, even like students I'd had who'd never seen me, never heard of me before, who would come to my classroom after like year 5, my discipline problems were like tiny by comparison to where they were the first 4 years, because students just
Yeah.
figure, oh well, he knows what's going on, he knows how to make this work. And it just so like, I taught in a pretty good school, but part of it's just that rapport you'd established before just seemed to work.
Yep.
Or I don't know if he just you just have the 1,000-yard gaze stare or something like that. They just leave you alone after a while. But,
Well, both work because I mean, I'd get that look, and kids are like, "Oh, shit's gonna get real,"
yeah,
and then suddenly everyone's behaving. It's like,
yeah.
I still got it.
My biggest piece of discipline advice for is teachers is to not to have the discussion with the student in the class and make them go out in the hallway, and then
Yeah.
you've taken their audience away, and usually that solves the problem. It
Oh,
helps.
yeah.
No, I'm also about 6'3", weigh about 250 pounds. So generally speaking, in the hallway, they don't want to be there with me.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I'm not that I'm hitting kids or anything dangerous, but
yeah,
it's just
exactly.
a different dynamic. So
It's that persona. Well,
yeah.
and in resource, sometimes I'd have kids who would be like, acting off the walls, and the
Yeah,
other
my son
kids
did
are
that for 2 years also.
yeah. And the other kids are looking and they're like, why don't you send him to the behavior room? And I'm like, because that's what he wants. And he's going to sit here and get his work done. So the sooner this crap stops, the better. And the kid would look at me. I'm like, oh, all right. And they'd get their work done.
I'm a teaching night here tomorrow after all this talk about teaching. So I have a flashback.
Okay, so female coded jobs, maintenance, reproductive labor. Someone made a thoughtful video about that yesterday.
I wonder if it was Margaret.
Okay, I don't know what PFLAG is. Okay, Margaret, you're going to have to help us out.
Margaret lives in her own world.
Yeah, as I catch up. Greg, just seen your comment. Hey, Ben, how's work going? Talking politics. What heresy is this? I have my
haven't even started yet.
State of mind. Ben saying hi. Everyone's saying hi back. She's not as heated discussing education as she was with you. Oh yeah, Ben and see, and my little kitty cat's not here to remind me about happy thoughts. Because sometimes with education and politics, I'm like, wah!
Yeah, I'll do it.
There you go. Oh, start a horseshoe club.
No, thanks. I hope he's far better than I am. So
you don't bring out the worst, Ben. You just caught me on a day when education was driving me wonky. Music was true, and yeah. I don't know, Greg.
I believe you.
2028 will be 20. Ooh, since I graduated as a teacher. Nice. That's awesome, Gareth. I was wondering if it was the LGBTQ org as it was around when I was in high school. So that's probably with your group.
The Gay Straight Alliance, yeah. I think it was. It was not just a campus organization. It was like we were an affiliate of a larger group. I'm sure there were others, but
Margaret,
and Margaret, you were probably in high school in the years in which I sponsored that club. So,
and Margaret,
I assume it's the same. So, because I'm old and you're not.
No, you're not. Well, I'm guessing you're in your 60s.
58.
Oh, see, you're a puppy. What the hell? I'm 62.
I'll be 59 this year. I've told this story many times that when I turned 50, when I was about to turn 50, I just thought, I don't want people making a big deal about the fact. Oh, thank you, Julie.
Parents and friends.
I don't want people making a big deal about the fact that I'm turning 50. So when I was 49, I told everybody I was 50. So that was just over. Like it happened. I just, okay, I'm already 50. And then I lost track of how old I was for a while because I'd been so convincing that I was already 50 that I still have to check. I have to go, wait, is it 50? I asked my wife just the other day, am I 59 or am I 58? And she's,
that's hilarious.
So, yeah. It did. I didn't have nobody, like it sprung up on people and they just believed me. And so nobody tried to give me a 50th birthday party with all the black crepe and stuff like that. We just went on. It worked, but then I was too stupid to remember how old I was.
That's hilarious. Okay, so Greg, his plan when he started college was to finish his bachelor's, then get a master's in
Oh,
music education. Ooh, from University of North Texas.
the University of North
Nice.
Texas is a great music school, just an absolutely great music school that very few people, probably outside the state, have heard of. But yeah, it's a great music school, great jazz program. I went to Stephen F. Austin, which is another smaller-ish state school, which was a rival with University of North Texas for a while before they outgrew us. And yeah, that was they. I had friends who transferred to the music program there who were musicians when I was in college.
Mm,
So
nice. Okay, so we have Jenny. Just do what I do. Refuse to act your age. Love seeing people's reactions when they realize I'm older.
I've been doing that for a while, but the hair kind of gives me away these days. So,
Hey, there are people in their 20s with
yeah, I actually
gray
went
hair.
gray right around 35, I think. So
And I laugh when I see women with gray hair who have dyed it because you can
mhm.
now buy it. I'm like, oh, hell no. I earned all of these. Like, this didn't come out of a box.
I was just happy that I had a hair color that was identifiable. If you asked me what color your hair is, I could say gray because my hair was always this just weird color before that, which didn't really have a definite color. So when it turned gray, I was like, great, it's gray now. I don't have to worry about it.
Well, and I learned because I worked in public school as well as high school. It was wherever the job was, is where I
Mhm.
went, which is kind of cool. For the 23 years, it was kind of split half and half as I got bounced around being redundant. But I did learn when I was working with ESL students, English as a second language.
Mhm.
They take things literally. And I'm also ESL, by the way, but
Right.
I was born in Canada, but had to learn English. Um, so I mean, I related to them having to get that second language. But the one day, because they were just being little characters, and I'm like, "You see this gray hair? You're gonna buy me my next box of Clairol." Or no, well, yeah, I told them that too, and then I had to explain what Clairol was. But they were messing around, and I'm like, "You're just pulling my leg." And all of a sudden, I see three little kids looking, and they're like, "No one's touching you." No,
Uh,
it's a term. It's like, oh my goodness. Okay, so Jenny, 42 physically, 12 mentally. You got cat beat. She swears she's still a 3-year-old. Our cute little ginger bibliophile. Update. Oh, yes, we're doing the Chaos Crew. This is going to be why it'll be my third live of the week. That's why I didn't worry about videos this week. But tomorrow's the Chaos Crew doing the 6-0 tag. What cracks me up about that is I'm the only one over 60. The rest are all little puppies. So, yes, Margaret gave us homework. We have to look up our answers. Yeah, and
uh-huh.
Greg and I are just days apart. We're both Capricorns. So
All right.
cool. Once again, probably the oldest at 69. Nothing wrong with that. 50th was crazy. Oh,
Oh
yeah.
no.
That's
Yeah.
not a way to celebrate 50.
No, you don't want that one.
Save for tomorrow. Uh-oh, numbers are depressing. Full shelf. Yes, you now have 2 bookcases of real books, not those virtual things anymore. We can seize them. Still got tagged. Hey, Mick. There you go. 70 in October.
All
Awesome. Should probably check the. Yes, they were hard. Tried twice, got sidetracked. Well, and my 50th was okay. I just went out with some friends. It was a nice, quiet evening. And that's when I realized I'm not stressing about who likes me and who doesn't. I'm 50. I made it. Life was easier. My
Yeah.
51st birthday was a shit show.
Oh,
Have you ever read The Five People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom?
no.
Okay, so we've been doing this story in English class, and it starts off with a gentleman who works at a pier, and needless to say, this is I'm pretty sure it was on his birthday. I've got to reread it. But anyhow, through various things, it turns out to be his last day. And the
All right.
story is about all the different people from his life who have had major impacts. Some he knew, some he didn't. It's a really amazing story. But like I say, it, unbeknownst to him, was his last day. And so it was my birthday. And of course, because it's early January, I'm in school and it was a snow day. Okay, that's good because not many of the kids show up, right? The buses didn't run, and the kids who
Right.
can walk don't bother. So it was supposed to be a calm day. But no, we have a code red with a SWAT team
Holy
going
cow.
through the frickin' building as I'm sitting in a closet with a coworker waiting for I'm like, are you kidding me?
What
So,
happened?
well, let's just say that some people should have asked a few more specific questions. They heard the word gun, missed the part of cap gun, didn't process they were dealing with an FASD student, as in fetal alcohol.
Yeah.
I knew the student. They didn't know him well. They heard gun. They went to the office. Everyone gets locked down. They went through, and yeah, for a cap gun, we made the news.
Yeah. It's a shame that we have to live in that world, but there's no alternative. So
yeah, well, at the end of the day, I went down to the office and I'm like, thank you for making 51 memorable, because I'm never forgetting this birthday. Like, holy crap, 2 hours in a room for a cap gun. Grr. Just grr. 3 days older, there we go. That Noah said with hint of pride, Brian. Maybe going back to teaching.
Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Gives me something to do tomorrow between D&D character. Oh, gardening. Oh, I want to see a video of that, Ven. You hate gardening. And I'm not a D&D person. I used to love the smell of it going off. Well,
you mean those red rolls of paper cap gun? Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. If you got one of those, a whole one of those, and you put it on a piece of concrete and hit it with a hammer, it would make a noise loud enough to make you go temporarily deaf.
Oh, wow. Really?
Well, we did that a lot to scare the hell out of people when I was a little kid. Of course, it was the 70s where nobody was around. Nobody was watching us. Nobody cared what we did. I was just laughing. I was with my daughter, and she was watching some little kids. I was over visiting my granddaughter. And one of them fell down, and we were like, and the kid like started to tear up. I just looked at him and said, "Oh, you're all right. Get up."
Yeah.
I thought, and he looked at me like, "What?"
Like, yeah, exactly.
Just get up. You're fine. You just fell down. It's all right. Get up.
And that's it. Like, if you don't freak out, they don't freak out.
I know when my kids played sports, I was like a dad coach, not like the actual coach.
Walk it off.
Exactly. My kids played sports. I always had a rule that no matter how bad it was, the first thing I would say to my kid is, "It's not that bad." So my daughter played baseball with boys for a while, and she was playing second base, and somebody hit a kid who was old, hit a ground ball that jumped up and hit her right in the face, just like right in the teeth. And there's blood everywhere, and she was on the ground crying. And I walked over to her, and as soon as I got there, I started to say, "It's not that bad." She looked at me, and she said, "It's not that bad." I said, "That's right." I said, "Let's get up. We'll walk off, and we'll take care of it." And she was fine, of course. But
good.
I was laughing because she had the same reaction I had when the kid fell down and started to cry. She's like, "Oh, you get up, you're fine. You're
Yeah.
I
Julie's
can go too far, but for the most
yeah,
part, it's usually right. You're usually
yeah.
right. It's okay. It's not that bad.
Julie, I don't know. Smell of gunpowder in the morning, you kind of scaring
Oh
me.
man.
And go.
I'm such a 70s kid that I had friends who made homemade fireworks with 22 rounds.
Oh,
They just take
wow.
the slug off the top and empty the gunpowder and then make their own. It's lucky I have all my fingers, to be honest with you.
Well,
I
I
grew
mean,
up in East Texas and nobody watched this because it was the 70s and the early 80s. So lots of stuff happened.
well, I
Lots
grew
of
up
stuff
in, the 60s and into the
happened.
70s. I grew up out in the country.
Yeah.
So, you were out in the fields and digging and getting dirty and,
Mhm.
none of this, oh, you got to have gravel under the
Yep.
playground equipment and this and that. It's like, oh my gosh.
I don't. I'm not sure it was better, but I learned a lot of stuff. Not always stuff that
Exactly.
I should have learned or needed to know, but I learned a lot of stuff. It's better than the internet. I'll say
Hey, there was definitely some critical thinking now and again
that.
involved. Maybe not at the
Occasionally,
time,
yeah.
but in hindsight, it's
Yeah,
like,
you like reflect back on it and
maybe
go,
let's not do
that was
that
really a bad
again.
idea. Exactly. That was really a bad idea.
And I am so grateful that there was no such thing as social
Oh
media
yeah. Oh,
because
I wouldn't
all
have
my
survived it.
stupid is just here. There
Yeah.
is no film footage
Yeah.
anywhere that anyone can find.
Yep. Yep.
It's like, oh, yeah, been looking for a friend my own age.
Me too, but I can't ever find anybody other than
You
online.
got to remember your age, though, Brian. That's the
That's true. That's true.
For those who are curious, caps were tiny fireworks. Oh, here we go. Yeah, where's Kat? She would know this. She's got the degree in this stuff.
Way to go, Margaret.
I don't even think
Yeah.
do they still even have those?
Craig, that makes me laugh.
Yeah. And yeah, all grew up
Oh,
with them.
goodness.
Okay,
Greg probably has had the childhood similar to mine where most adults treated 22 like a BB gun and they didn't care what you did with it. So as long as you didn't kill anybody or shoot anybody, you're all right.
You're both American. We don't have those things up here. I'm not saying we don't have them up here, but it's
Yeah.
not as common
Yeah.
in a household up here.
Always laugh whenever there's a movie set like in some kind of backwoods hillbilly place and they just have kids out shooting an old car with a gun because I'm like,
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done
I don't think
that.
they're a thing anymore with the cap guns. Yeah, and that's it.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
Texas had cap guns. Woo.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, it was on Corner Gas, which probably nobody watching this knows. Well, Greg might because he knows Red Green. Was a Canadian comedy set out in Saskatchewan, the prairies. And the one officer goes out and he was shooting his gun at a boat, at a crow or something. And you can't be shooting willy nilly and type of, but yeah, up here, that definitely wouldn't be a thing. Then again, yeah, toys in general are declining. Yeah, well, because kids are either
Online.
scrolling or
Yeah.
YouTubing and stuff. But okay, there are some definite, because you're going to be my teacher
Okay.
between you and Dave. Now, before we get into this, though, we did not say where can people find your books to purchase.
Oh, okay. They're both well, the first one probably they don't have any copies, but online booksellers had them. The cheapest one is the one that ends in ZON, and
Okay.
you can get it's available in ebook and in hardback. The name of it is MacArthur's Bloody Butchers. That's the name of it. Like General MacArthur from World War II, Bloody Butchers. That's the name. Then there's a whole lot of title after the semicolon, which you don't really need.
Okay. Now, is there somewhere besides?
Yeah, you can get it. It has been available through bookshop.org, Barnes and Noble. You could order it. I think you can order it through Walmart and Target. You're not going to find it on the shelf of any physical bookstore that I know of.
Okay.
If you're in the UK, you can order it. It costs a lot of money, but they do have them at Waters. The ZON bookstore has it, and they used to have it at Waterstones and Blackwell's. Used to have
Okay.
it
Awesome.
available online because it was technically published in both the UK and the United States, but that's because the publisher is split over the two. And I think they actually, I want to say they print their books in the UK and they ship them to the United States. Anyway,
Oh, sure.
so
Leaving Canada out again, like always.
there's the UK one is called Pen and Sword, and the American version is Casemate. So technically, it's a Casemate is the publisher. You can order it from the Casemate website, and you can still order the other book, the Thomas Boyd Lost Author, the Lost Generation biography. It's available from the University of Akron Press, and the ZON store might have one laying around somewhere. But it's
Okay,
been out for a
cool.
long time, and they keep contacting me, asking me if I want to take it out of print so they can destroy the remainders, and I'm like, no.
No, no.
Anyway, so it will go out of print soon because I'm gonna. They
No.
sent me a relatively sarcastic royalty report just recently that showed that 0 copies had been sold in the
Oh.
last year, and that I was owed 0 royalties.
Aw.
Okay.
Well, you got another project on the go. I heard you mention
Yes.
in your
Yeah.
video, you and your wife are
We are. We're
working
having
on a
a
project.
great time writing a murder mystery. I don't know if it qualify. I think it's probably technically a police procedural because it focuses on a police department trying to solve a series of murders in a small Texas town. You know, this I'm not reinventing the wheel here with
Yeah,
my mystery novel, but we've been having a good time.
nice.
I've almost finished the 3rd edit. When I clean up the grammar and the spelling and get all the names right and the color of all the cars the same, so that I don't have one guy driving a green truck in one chapter and a red truck in the other.
Yeah,
I'll try to find some beta readers and send it out, and then uh, see where we go from there. It's a little short right now. That's I can never write a book that's very long. I don't know why, but my books always come out short. So it's not 70,000 words, and it probably needs to be. So maybe
mm,
beta readers can give me an idea of where to add some stuff. I have a tendency towards brevity when I write.
mm.
I don't use a lot of extra words. I kind of, for worse, probably read too much Hemingway as a kid, and so I have a tendency to write not like Hemingway, but kind of
Yeah,
short, terse sentences without a lot of with almost no adverbs and very specific adjectives is usually what I would say
you
about
mean not like a Stephen King, 1,400 pages of The Stand and
no.
pretty much most of his other
Never,
books?
never will happen. I was surprised. I looked at the word count when I finished the last read through, and it's right at 65,000. Like that's a lot for me. That's
Hey, there you
that's a
go.
lot.
See?
So
You're almost
I
there.
don't know. I don't want to have to add another character to get to 75,000. But we'll see how it goes.
So Gareth's saying
Uh,
D&D is on the rise.
my D&D experience is so basic that I don't even think I would understand how to play anymore. Like I hear people talking about building their characters and all the different, I don't know, characteristics they have. And when
Yeah,
I was a kid, there were like 6 characteristics, and we didn't know what half of them meant. There's like strength, agility, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. We didn't know what the hell charisma was, so we didn't know, and I had no idea how those factored in. We just played to kill stuff.
yeah.
We
Oh no,
we
Ven's like
yeah.
he can spend hours on one character, and that's
I
not even playing the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't even understand the character sheets anymore. So
Oh no, I've seen some of the stuff. I'm like, dude, that's too much like work. I'm going to
yeah.
read. Like, you have
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, and Gareth
I always
plays
think it
too.
would. I think it would be fun if I could find a group, but it would take me so long to catch up with what's. I mean, well, not like I said when I was
Well,
a
there's
kid. You were
lots
you
of
were
books
you were
now
like
that
a.
explain it.
I, I know, but I just want somebody to explain it to me at this point. You were the wizard or you were a fighter or whatever. There weren't all these different like subcategories. Anyway, I'm sure there were. We just weren't smart enough in 1979 to know all that stuff, so we just didn't bother with it.
It's
Uh,
become very complex. But yeah,
yeah.
Gareth plays, and Gareth, you were playing, I think, at lunchtime for a while with some of your coworkers, and yeah, and they've got like the fancy dice and everything. I
Yeah, I've
just,
got some of those somewhere.
All I know about D&D is it was on The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And she's saying, as a board game, nope, RPG, original games everywhere. Good distinction. Hey, there's Kat. She'd know what was in a cap gun. Hey, Kat. Glad you had a good nap. Board game split over 5 card decks. Wow. Again, if I'm
Yeah,
playing, I want
I'm
to.
lost. When I
This
was,
is,
well,
go
we
ahead.
just bought like the modules that were pre-prepared that came with a map, and then the dungeon master had all the instructions and the story, and
Yeah,
you like walked around the map, and he told we didn't like we rarely even made up our own dungeons for. We just went with whatever we could buy,
yeah.
uh, and so it was a lot simpler.
Here we go. Me and yeah, different things. I'm talking about D&D. Okay, it's cards.
Oh,
Each can only go in specific
oh,
places.
well,
Each
that is
deck's
different.
slightly different. Okay, so I'm lost. So
Yeah, too.
hopefully they know.
Yeah,
So
I like woo, right over my 58-year-old head. 59, 58, whatever.
went over mine 62. I know for sure. I just turned 3 months ago. Card games really popular. Just not what I meant.
I got you. All right. So Gareth, you're talking about the D&D that I'm talking about,
Must
and
be.
Ben is talking about a D&D that's a card game.
Yeah.
All right.
So he's done D&D with the kids a few times. Haunted House one, chaotic. Yep, Kat got a shout out. She's on the list because of her schooling. Shorter's better. Well, we
I
call
hope
her
so.
fun size.
I hope so.
Yay for naps, saying hi to folks. I didn't blame you for anything. We were talking cap guns, and I said you would know how to make those things. You know how to make those pretty things. It's Riz, I roll. Already
Another
forgot.
reason I don't want to go back to teaching.
See, Margaret already forgot. I remembered. Margaret, are you into my new pain meds? Like, even my memory's better than that. Don't get these, newfangled video games. Get off my lawn. Didn't work just before that. Playing it every week for 3 hours on a Monday. Wow. Nice. So there, you found a group. Yep, chemical composition. No cards, scraps of paper, stats, bunch of dice.
Bunch of dice. That was the game I played.
Oh, there we go. Websites to track our stats.
Right. That's fancy.
Events causing confusion. 4th level elfin thief. Woo!
Awesome.
Okay, now we're coming up to an hour and a half. Are you on a time limit, Brian?
I probably got another half an hour.
So. Okay, we're going to have to crunch these.
Okay.
So, I'm going to look at what are my biggest questions then. Okay, so, and again, this is about learning.
Okay.
Government shutdowns. What the hell are those? And how does that happen so often? My little Canadian brain cannot process this.
It happens so often because our politics in the United States are so divided that they can't actually pass a budget, not like a real budget, not a complete budget to fund the government. So what they pass is a series of continuing resolutions. That is, they just pass a resolution to say, we're going to keep funding this the way it was. We're going to keep funding at this level with like usually a cost of living increase and so on. What causes the shutdown is if there's a desire by almost always the minority party to force some kind of change, they refuse to sign off on whatever the thing is the majority party wants in the continuing resolution because they add things to those resolutions all the time. So, for instance, the latest shutdown, the partial shutdown we have in the United States government right now, shuts down the Department of Homeland Security because they didn't pass the continuing resolution to keep adding funding to it. And in part, that's because it's a protest against what ICE did in Minnesota.
Right.
And so that department is shut down. And we're kind of at the point now where we might be looking at airport closures because that department also contains people.
So many
The
things.
people who do air traffic controllers are there. TSA agents who work at the airports and do
Right.
security are there. So that sometimes the whole government. This case is just a part of the government, but it happens because we just have because the weirdness in the way in which budgets are passed in the United States means that it's very difficult to get an actual one passed. It's easier now once they eliminated the filibuster for budget issues, because the filibuster just meant that a really small group of senators could stop almost anything from passing the Senate. Well, they got rid of the filibuster for budget issues so that at least it is easier. But the result is we got the big beautiful bill, which made the tax cuts for billionaires permanent,
Yeah.
and had all those other cuts that came out of Doge, that fraud that happened, and gave Elon Musk and every 18-year-old pinhead access to all of our data. Um, you know, but but
Well,
but so
okay.
that's kind of what it is.
But so they passed the big dumbass bill,
Yeah,
and that includes like funding for a variety of things, along with
right.
taxes and so
Yeah,
many other things. So if that passed, then
that
doesn't
that
that make that other stuff in effect?
not necessarily if they need or want more money, and that's where they are right now. If they need or want more money, then it doesn't. And my understanding is the appropriation is not necessarily all at once. It's not like here's $200 billion. It's
Right.
meted out over the anyway. So
Yeah.
by shutting it down this time, by shutting down Department of Homeland Security this time, they're essentially shutting off funding to DHS, to the Department of Homeland Security, which includes all those things. And
Right.
that's why security lines at American airports are so long, and we have flight delays and cancellations, and all
Okay.
those
So
kind of nightmares going on.
does that mean those people then are no longer going around hunting other humans? I'm not going to
No,
call it anything else.
no, they are. They are.
Ugh.
Be, they are.
All right. So we won't get too
It
far in that.
and I'm afraid I'm not explaining it well because I may not know
No,
exactly
you
far
are.
enough in the weeds to know exactly why the money could be cut off at different points, and maybe my misunderstood the funding that came out of the big beautiful bill, the big dumbass bill.
Yeah,
But
it's kind of confusing, but
it's intentionally confusing. So,
yeah, no doubt. Hey, you.
oh, did you hear my dog?
I did. Yeah, and my hubby just come home.
Oh, I'm babysitting my granddog. Also, his name is
Is that
Joey.
Zelda?
Zelda is my dog, and Joey is my granddog,
Oh,
who I love very much. And he's the one who howled. Zelda just barks. Joey howls. I think it was an Amazon delivery, Margaret.
oh, there we go. Yeah, can't imagine anything we need
Yeah.
coming into. Yeah, God.
And essentially, the Democrats offered to fund everything but ICE, and the Republicans told them no.
Mm,
And now the Republicans are running around saying it's the Democrats are the reason why. Anyway,
yeah, it's so much stuff.
well,
Greg says hi.
like Margaret was saying, I think our budget, I think the big beautiful bill budgets for ICE was larger than the budget for all but like 5 nations' militaries.
Oh, it was
That's how much
insane.
we're spending on that Gestapo
Yeah.
SS organization that's become.
Well,
ICE is always we've always had ICE, and it's always done the job it's doing. It's just never done the job that it's doing the way it's being done and to whom it's being done. They used to
exactly.
literally go after people who were criminals or people who had violated the law in some egregious way, and they
Yeah.
left everybody else alone. And when I was looking at or listening to somebody talking about the economic reports now, job creation in the United States is at zero right now. And in part, they're saying, well, it's not as bad as it sounds because we've deported so many people that we don't need as many people to work because, it's kind of all balancing out. They're not creating jobs, but we don't necessarily need to create jobs because we have fewer people because they're deporting and discouraging some. I mean, one of the things that if you listen to that psycho Stephen Miller talk about is he wants people to self-deport. He wants to make it so unpleasant here that
Yeah.
people leave, just like Jewish people left Nazi Germany. That's what he wants to do here, to make it so unpleasant that they leave, and that's working. And it's just the most.
It's
I
terrifying.
can't. It's impossible to talk about anything having to do with Trump and say it's the most. But I would say it's one of the most self-defeating things that we're doing. We are deporting people who work. We're deporting people who contribute trillions of dollars to our tax base.
Yeah.
We're deporting people who consume hundreds of billions of dollars of products here in the United States to get them out of jobs. What they're saying is to get them out of jobs so Americans can take those jobs, but they can't pay,
But some of the Americans don't want the jobs.
Right. That's just not going to work. And so then what's revealed is that it's just white supremacy.
Yeah.
That, the economics of it don't make sense. It only makes sense if you're a white supremacist and you want to get rid of all the brown and the black and the non, Western European, Northern Western European looking people, which is ironically not ironically, which is exactly what Stephen Miller actually wants. And I don't believe that Trump understands any of this because he's one of the stupidest men to ever be president of the United States, and that includes a list of presidents with, I'm trying to think of somebody who's remote. Warren G. Harding, also not a very smart president of the United States. But he has all these little fiefdoms in his presidency, which run parts of the government, and those people have power, like Hegseth with the Department of Defense, and Stephen Miller with everything having to do with making people's lives miserable. And he just goes along with it. As long as he's not in prison and he has power and he and his family are grifting and making billions of dollars, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. When he recently, I'm sorry, I'm on a rant now. When he recently said that oil prices going up were a good thing for the United States, they're not a good thing for anybody. They're except oil companies, which is his constituency. That's why he thinks it's okay, because he doesn't care what happens to me or to anybody else in the United States or anybody else anywhere else. He cares what happens to the money people who support him, who give him money, who help him make money. That's who he cares about. And he's demented. He has lost his freaking mind. I don't know if you heard this. Like, he made up that whole story about how a former president he talked to had told him he wished he'd attacked Iraq. Have you seen that in Canada?
Well,
so he's giving a press conference.
The news and stuff, so it may have been. Bob probably has seen it.
So he's giving a press conference and talking about why he attacked Iraq. And if he consulted with anybody, he said, "Oh yeah, I talked to a former president, a guy who'd been president in the past. But we only have a few living presidents."
Yeah, no kidding.
Right. And he said, "I actually like the guy." And he said, Trump said he told me he wished he'd attacked Iraq. Well, the former presidents who are alive said he did not talk to me, and we never said that. Yeah. So he's either making this crap up or he's a liar. But better, yesterday oh my goodness, I'm sorry, Elaine.
That's okay.
Now I'm on a roll. Sorry. Yesterday.
Okay, but I got 3 more questions.
Okay, so I know, but he's in a press conference with the Prime Minister of Japan, and somebody asked him, a Japanese journalist asked him why he didn't tell Japan and his other allies that we were about to attack Iraq, and he said, "Well, you want to keep stuff like that kind of secret." And he looks at the Prime Minister of Japan, and he says to her, "Why didn't you warn me before you attacked Pearl Harbor?" He said that to the Prime Minister of Japan. She was the Prime Minister of Japan in 1941. Trump wasn't alive in 1941. This is who's running this is who the President of the United States is. He is insane. He's demented. He's an idiot. He's a moron.
Yeah, but
he's the worst human being possible.
You've got the Gulf of America. You live near the Gulf of America, dude. How can you not know that? It's on the big, beautiful gold map in the White House.
He literally was legitimately accused of SAing a 13-year-old girl to the extent that the FBI believed her story enough to talk to her 4 times and use her testimony about Ghislaine Maxwell against her in that trial. And that's all been covered up. And nobody's paying attention to the fact that the President of the United States, there's a better than average chance, SA'd a 13-year-old child. Yep. And ask your next question. I'm sorry.
Well, it kind of leads to how does someone like that, and I mean, it's all of them, Why is it your president gets to pardon somebody?
The
Now,
Constitution gives him
before,
that power.
well, and because see, here's what blows my mind. Up here in Canada, you have to be crime free for 7 years before you can apply
Right.
for a pardon. Then the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, do an investigation. Like they talk to your family, employer, like anybody you've had contact with, you better be squeaky clean. And then they'll decide if you get your pardon. But over there, you just had a crap ton of criminals smashing through and crapping in your White House. And
Yep.
a frickin' a few years later.
One.
Okay.
No, you're right. Sorry, 5.
Yeah.
4. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I know. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
no,
yeah. I forgot about the whole Biden presidency, which
well, the whole thing, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm sorry.
Either way, it's not 7 years.
Right.
Suddenly, carte blanche, that whole group of people, kaboom, they're back on the street. Although some of them now are back in jail for murder and assault and this and that.
Yep.
Like, WTF, why does your president have that kind of power?
It is literally written into the Constitution. It is one of the specific powers given to the president by the United States Constitution.
Did they not see this could go like really bad?
What they thought, and I'll brief history, physics, civics lesson here. What the authors of the Constitution thought was that Congress would dominate our government, that Congress would be where the power lay, and the president would be almost like a high-level employee. But they wanted every branch to have a way to check the power of the other branches.
Right.
And one of the ways the executive branch check the power of the judicial branch, that is the courts, is to have this power to pardon somebody or to commute sentences, to grant amnesty, things like that. That he given this party power in case the judicial branch became politicized and was, going after people and imprisoning people and all that kind of stuff. He would then be the source of justice to right that wrong, to limit their power. And that's why. And they did not envision, and, particularly, Washington might have envisioned it if you ever read his the address he gave when he was leaving, the idea of concentrating power in the hands of parties or in one person. That's one of the reasons why Washington only served 2 terms. Is he thought that's enough. Anything else will get too close to a king. And there were definitely people in the United States who thought, well, Washington should just be king, and then we'll just elect whoever Washington's child is or third cousin is. And Washington's like, no, that's not. Anyway, so no, they would not have envisioned that we would be A, dumb enough to elect somebody like Trump once, B, dumb enough to elect him again twice, to keep 10 trans athletes from competing in college sports, which is essentially why, if you ask me, that's why he got elected, because he effectively used that issue to drive a wedge in the American public, which is just the stupidest thing. But anyway, but yeah, it's just specifically in the Constitution is the short answer.
Okay. And like I'm just writing my, so a quick catch up with comment. Yeah, Margaret, be all kinds of trouble listing. Yeah. Just true. Kitty cat's got to behave herself incognito. Still not risking door knocked on. Exactly. Don't want to be going down that road. Anti-immigrant argument. Yeah, agreed. And I mean, there's people up here who bitch and moan too. And I'm like, are you going to tell me you're going to go work in the fields? Because I'm willing to bet my ass you're not.
Well, did you know
social benefits, and you're not going to give up that check to go get a job? Like, shut your pie hole.
The Trump administration the Trump administration just started issuing work permits to immigrant workers again, immigrant farm workers. They just started doing that. So at the same time they're deporting people, they're going to allow people to come in to work on farms because they realize how badly they've hurt farming
Well,
and food processing in the United States.
it's
That's the level of
ridiculous.
stupid we're at. That's the level of stupid we're at.
That's wild. Doesn't
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, hitting on. He's
That's
just
a whole nother level of creepy.
Well, exactly. If they want to get rid of plenty of politicians, I agree. They could start at
Yeah.
and that's the other that blows my mind is how he could demolish the White House. Like, what WTF with your House and your Senate? Like, what are these people
Well, they're
doing?
controlled by his party, and they're all cowards. They're all the most craven, sycophantic weaklings you can imagine. It's a the impact that Trump has had on the Republican Party is I've never been a Republican conservative in my life, but the impact he's had on exposing the absolute cowardice of the Republican Party is shocking.
Yeah,
That there's no like even this war in Iraq, they refused to vote to say that he had to get their authority to carry that. So now he can just do whatever he wants. And that's, what he's doing. He's destroying the world and the United States economy and all those other countries and blowing up schools full of little girls. And, we are, I know that a lot of people in other countries rightly feel like, that the United States has never been the great, good nation we imagine ourselves to be, but we are as far from that as we have ever been, I think, at least since 1865. I mean, it's just, it's depressing. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So Kat at least has pizza dough and sweet tea. It was nice and warm in her area, so she's having pizza and sweet tea. Start singing. I never thought the leopard would eat my face.
Exactly.
Everyone knows that song, right? Nope, but if it makes you happy, Margaret, go with it. Saw make a bizarre comment. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
he's deranged. He's deranged.
Routine, yeah. Well, and that's partly why I stopped watching because I'm like, oh my God, he's just nuts.
Yeah. I was going to make a video about, the Iran thing. And I just thought, is there anything I can say that people don't already know that, anyway.
He's on a roll. That was when today's moment of bafflement. Yeah. Well, you know what makes me sick is, well, there's lots of things. We could be here for 10 hours on that. But watching these royals shaking his hand and the big hoo-ha, what pisses me off as a Canadian taxpayer is you keep telling me you need extra money, blah, blah, blah. I don't live on a crap ton of money. I live on below the poverty level. So I'm lucky I got someone who still loves working. So you're taking my extra taxes to tell me there's border security for a bunch of bullshit because the fentanyl's coming over the border, not going down, but either way. And then you let that felon sex offender come flying over for the G7. Like WTF, there's no border security. He got over.
There's no way that the rest of the world could ignore the United States just because Trump's president. That just isn't possible, but I wish that it was. I understand why they don't. One day he won't be president and we will need, and hopefully other nations will still benefit from the relationship with the United States. But I wish they would do exactly what you said. Just say, no, I'm sorry, you can't come. We don't want you.
Well, this is it. Like, why make a big hoo-ha?
Yeah.
I mean, I used to work with people who committed those crimes. Nobody threw them frickin' state dinners or wanted to meet them.
Yeah.
I mean, people I knew would freak out because I had some clients with that.
Well, I hope if we ever get all the Epstein information out there, and you could argue the Iran war was to cover up the release of some of the more damaging Epstein files, and if so, it's worked. But it's worked in a way which is just as bad for his presidency. But I can't believe that we were looking at what two years and 10 more months of this ridiculousness. I keep thinking that Republicans will find excuse the term, they'll find their balls as we get closer to his lame duck status and eventually make him irrelevant. That is my best hope. that for his last 2 years, he's essentially irrelevant. I don't think there's much hope of that, but
Well,
being in your last 2 years of your presidency, generally speaking, makes you pretty irrelevant by yourself. Even if you're a good president, like Obama was a decent president, he was still a lame duck and irrelevant largely irrelevant the last 2 years of his presidency. That's just something that happens here.
So here's one thing, because I'm aware we've only got 10 minutes. So I apologize if I don't get to everyone's comments.
I can go. How many more questions do you have?
Well, there's that. I have several, but that's okay.
All right. Well, I'll stay for a while when you ask questions. Go ahead.
No, well, the main one I want to get to, because I can always ask you some of these at a different time, email, whatever, get you and Dave on, because you're my educational American government people. Because
maybe Dave can continue the shutdown.
Some of the other ones. Okay, so these EP files, 3 million pages. No one's seriously going to read all of them. I'm still irked that there's a woman who got up and said she voted for that dinglebat because she wants justice, and she's one of the group. And I'm thinking, Cookie, you have talked to other women. You know what he's like. Why would you think he's going to deal with this? Now, here's my bigger question, because one of the fewer people I do watch is Ari Melber.
Okay.
This has been going on since Bush was in office.
Yes.
Bush did nothing. Obama did nothing. Trump ain't going to do anything. Biden, Lord knows what those 4 years were. And here we are back at them now. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't need to be resolved or that these people shouldn't be brought to justice. They absolutely 100% should be. But with all these files now out there, which are allegations, not court transcripts,
right?
How does that help get some of this resolved, or the people responsible when their frickin' names are redacted while the victims or survivors, people call them both, while it's their pictures, names, and addresses, for God's sakes, that have been now put out there, but the guilty parties are being redacted? How is this helping? Okay. And I'm asking seriously.
Okay, so a couple of things. First, it was during Bush's administration, the younger Bush administration, that Epstein was first brought up on charges, and it was a part of the Justice Department under Bush who gave Epstein the initial sweetheart deal, which allowed him just to plead guilty to one charge at the state level, for which was basically he got no punishment. Sometime during the Obama administration, the Justice Department picked up the case again. They began developing that case against Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Right.
These things take a long time, apparently. Oh, yeah. I wish they didn't. And I'm not trying to justify anything that happened, or I'm not even saying it wasn't slow walked at some point by Obama or Biden or whoever, but got the case to the point where the Justice Department under Trump, which in his first term was still actually functioning mostly like a Justice Department, actually brought charges against Epstein. That's why he was in prison. That's why he'd been charged, and why he was in prison when he died in 2019. And then they brought the charges. They had the charges against Maxwell. And it's during Biden's presidency that Maxwell was charged and prosecuted. So the Justice Department can't release files if there's an active investigation or a case going on. So just looking at the Biden administration, the Maxwell case was ongoing until 2024. And so to release the files while that case was ongoing, and that included a year during which she had to file appeals. To do that, they would have had to essentially blow up the case,
right? In
which there is no justice then. Now, is that saying that, am I saying that Biden shouldn't have made it more of a priority? He shouldn't have tried to release after she was convicted and all those things? I think that's true. I don't think anybody had too much of an appetite for this until, ironically, Trump was elected, because Trump was elected in part by people who wanted the Epstein files released. They wanted it. There were people he's appointed to positions in his government who wanted it. There are Republican congressmen like Marjorie Taylor Greene
Yeah.
who ran on this issue. And so when he came into office, he said, I'm going to release it. In February, his AG said, I have the files, I'm going to release them. Didn't. Come May, the FBI and the DOJ are like, oh, well, there's really nothing else here. We're going to close the case down. Well, when they closed the case down, that meant the files could be released. So that's when all this pressure to release the files came. And the DOJ and the FBI slow walked it, wouldn't do it. And so eventually got 4 or 5 Republicans, along with all the Democrats in the House and all the both in the Senate, to vote to force the government to release the files. That's the Epstein, I can't remember what they call it, the Epstein something act, Epstein, anyway, where they have to release the files. And that was supposed to happen by January the 19th. And so now we've gotten 3 million or so files have been released. Right. They were redacted. The law said they weren't supposed to be redacted. They left out people's names who were the perpetrators, and they left everything you said is right. So the question is, who is this supposed to help? I think that it's not going to help the victims, the survivors, however we want to talk about them, in any real way other than the acknowledgement that something terrible happened to them and powerful men were the ones who did this. Yeah. And at the very least, which isn't justice, but at the very least, those people and their names should be exposed, no matter who they are. Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, I don't care who it is. Those names should be released. Right, Prince Andrew. And if there is criminal evidence they committed these crimes, which, there's a real allegation against the president that he committed this crime, they should be prosecuted. There should be an investigation. Do I think that's going to happen while Trump is president? No, I absolutely don't. I don't think they're going to do that. They haven't even followed the law that he signed. He signed the damn law, and they're still not following the law. There are 3 million they've released redacted, and there are like 3 million they're still sitting on and refuse to release, which is a violation of the law. They are in violation of the law. Pam Bondi should be impeached and removed. They should get an attorney general who's going to follow the law. They're not going to, but that's what should happen. And until he's not president, I don't think we're going to get any better than we know who these people are. We know what they did. And, that's the best we're going to get. I mean, I have all kinds of scenarios I'd like to see happen, but that's the best we're going to get. I don't know why we aren't talking about the fact that one of the people who had the most contact with Epstein before his death was Peter Thiel, one of the big tech guys who supports Trump. It's almost constant contact. So was Bill Gates. Almost constant contact and communication with Epstein. We need to find out what they were talking about. We need to find out what's in there. What was their relationship? All those kind of things. Thank God the state government of New Mexico is now investigating and digging around on that ranch to find out if there were children who were actually killed and buried there. Those are all things that I think are steps in the right direction. But I'm not sure that justice, as we think about justice, as we should define it, is ever actually going to be done. And we'll just have to hopefully reform the system. And I don't know how we're going to do that when money determines who gets elected. But anyway.
Well, see, and that was kind of the other. But before we go to that money part, I mean, one, I don't think Epstein did himself in. So there's an investigation big time. I mean, if he was going to do it, it would have been before he ever got picked up. Let's be serious. He's not the type of individual who would go down that road. That's just me.
I think that he probably thought he would be saved as he'd been saved all the other times. And that might then, when he realized he was not going to be saved.
Too much, and they were afraid he was going to talk. I mean, he knew.
I think that's absolutely true. I'm not sure that somebody went in there and strangled a man to death, but I think somebody went in there and said, "Hey, we're not going to watch you for a while, and we're going to step out of here for an hour, and if we come back and you haven't done what you need to do, we're going to take care of things in a much less pleasant way." You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of encourage them to commit suicide.
Things happen.
Yeah,
things happen.
But anyway, I'm with you. That whole thing is fishy. So
yeah, and that whole thing, and I agree. I mean, I agree.
Back when Biden was president, people used to say, "Oh, Epstein didn't kill himself." My conservative kids, my MAGA kids, and people I knew say Epstein didn't kill himself. I'd say, "No, Trump did."
Oh, wow.
because I mean, what Democrat had access to Epstein's cell? He didn't. The Bureau of Prisons is run by Trump's Attorney General.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, and
sorry.
so there's the other question, because I watched that shit show called A Congressional Hearing. And your congressional hearings drive me nuts. Like, talk about a waste of farkin' money
Absolutely.
non-stop.
Absolutely.
So I guess my question, well, let's forget Bondi for a minute, because that was just atrocious watching.
Oh, she's a terrible person.
Well, and the Democrats weren't behaving any better, to be fair.
No.
It was like, what the hell are you people doing?
None of those hearings are
What
about
is the
information.
point?
They're just a show. It's just a show, so you get a sound clip, you can run an ad. That's all.
But they're expensive shows.
Yep.
Like, the
They are.
American people are paying for this. And does anything ever change after those hearings?
Well, okay. So
Because that's a lot of
I
money
think,
being spent
yeah,
for,
what I would say
the
is
aspects.
I would think the congressional hearings where Bondi and Kash Patel, the FBI director, testified and were asked questions about the Epstein files that they
Yeah.
didn't answer adequately, encouraged a lot of people, or encouraged just enough Republicans to support releasing the files. So if you ask me if it makes a difference, I think it can make a difference. Does it make a difference very often? No. Does it make a difference about, like when they bring in the attorney general and ask her about how she's running her department? Is that going to change? No. Is it going to change the way ICE does anything? No, it's not. But if it gets enough headlines, particularly if it's an issue that appeals to the side that's doing the covering up,
Right.
The people on that side, I think you can get some movement out of it, because there were, the truth of the matter is everybody knows that there's something going on with Trump and the Epstein files, and we know there's a cover up, and you would have to be the most hardcore MAGA in the world to think that's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, because it is so obviously true. I mean, like everybody said, if there was nothing about Trump in those files that was incriminating, he would have released them. He would have released them on January the 21st, 2025. Because why not?
Well, because he was busy, with that dude who's also accused of other things, following his wife around for 20 days to make a movie. Like, who the hell wants to? Who cares?
Well, that's all. But see, that's all a gift to Trump, so that Trump will support or be against policies that hurt Amazon. All those things are gift. You saw you may not have seen the story, but Switzerland was one of the countries that had all these tariffs put on them. The president or prime minister, I'm sorry, I don't know what the person is from Switzerland, visited the Oval Office, and he brought Donald Trump a gold bar. Yeah, literally a gold bar worth like more than $20,000 as a gift. He gave it to him, and Trump reduced the tariffs on Switzerland.
Of course. Literally.
He gave him a bar of gold, and Trump said, okay. And if you go to Trump, this is why you see so many political leaders kissing Trump's butt. If you go to him and kiss his butt and tell him he's great, he makes things better for your country. Yeah. Unless you're Zelensky.
Well, or Carney. I mean, Carney screwed himself.
Well, thank God.
Like that. Yeah, but
I have to. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not as in on Canadian policy as you, so I don't know domestically what. But from my point of view, as a left-leaning person in the United States, I appreciate him standing up to Trump as much as he has.
Well, he finally did over there. He still had him come up here. And
yeah, I know.
So, hang on, time out. So everyone, I know there's a ton of comments, but Brian's going to have to go soon.
Just go through the comments. I can give you another 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, well, we're behind.
Do what you want to do for another 15, 20 minutes. Now I'm fired up. I can't just go talk to my family like a normal person right now. So.
Yeah. So I'm going to say hi, Noah, and hi, Paula. And then we're way up here. So just listen to a great podcast, Pardon Attorney. Not meant to be the fiat, short version. Yep, have to be. He's working at a lab, time, prove his work, not up to no good, haven't been in anything for 6 years. Yeah, so, and that's the sad thing, because Kat can't actually, well, she hasn't been able to find a job with what she went to school for. Want to be happy to help. Congress, Article 1. Okay, Article 2. Number 12, right? Yep, he is indeed number 2. It's under my own fig tree. So I thought we're just discovered groceries.
He's
Just,
such a
hey,
moron.
sweetie, thanks for popping by. Every time you cause mod issues, Noah. What'd I do? Keep your tongue to yourself. Like, whoa! and we're off to the races with the dirty girls. Uh-oh, she has a surprise for him tomorrow. This could be interesting. And I'm the one running it. You guys behave, you little buggers. It's going to be my 3rd live stream. Mama ain't going to be like overly patient. Works makes me have to authorize. What's the surprise? Wouldn't be if we told you. Enchantments. I want to know. He's the little baby of the group, as Noah, even though he just had a birthday. Not even 40-ish. We'll only find out. Turn up. Okay, they're chit-chatting amongst themselves. 6 p.m. Put my alarm on. Okay. All right. You guys are all chit-chatting amongst yourself. That's all good. Never been as great as we pretend. Now it's just embarrassing to be from the U.S. Yeah, but not for every American. And that's the thing people forget. It's not every American on board with this nonsense. There are like millions and millions who don't want this crap happening. So it's not America's bad. There's some bad in America, and that's what's making the news and stuff right now. But there are so many awesome Americans out there. They're just not sitting in the house where they're going to do something,
Right.
And that's the bugger of it too, is because it does cost a crap ton of money to run in your elections, does it not?
It does.
Yeah. So last year, 1st stayed home, 4th, usually my favorite, fireworks. Yeah, it doesn't stand for anything
We used
good.
to have fireworks used to go off. Essentially, you should shoot fireworks in the backyard of my old house.
Yeah.
And here we didn't even try to go figure out where they were this year.
Yeah. And again, it's such a shame because there are a lot of amazing things about America, a lot of amazing things that have been done. But I mean, even just the damage right now between our 2 countries is going to frickin' take ages to. I mean, right now there's over 200 Canadians sitting in those detention centers. And someone made a point. I can't remember where it was. It wasn't a booktuber. It was something else I came across. And they're like, do you remember when the country was losing their shit about the 2 Michaels in China? And now we have over 200 Canadians locked up in America. And why? It's just, from a curiosity to a threat. Little man, her little cute boy watches. I'm surprised little man doesn't get scared. The fireworks and that. Ooh, garlic dough's outside. Wasp tried to murder cat and her bees. None of this crowd listened to the Pardon Attorney podcast. Okay, so
I see her a lot on social media. She's very good. I haven't seen her watch her podcast.
There you go. So Greg's going to be watching. Yeah, supposed to happen by. And so as I'm scrolling through here, and I apologize, we're going quick, folks. What does happen to the DOJ? I mean, she's past these deadlines. She's not doing her job. What, if any, consequences are there?
Well, she can be impeached and removed from her position, just like the president can, but the circumstances are the exact same. It will require a majority vote in the House to impeach her, and then 66 senators have to vote to remove her from office. And once she is out of office, she could be charged with crimes that she's committed.
Right.
And I guess theoretically she could in office, but who's going to charge her? I mean, nobody in her department. Congress isn't going to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate what she's doing, as long as Congress is in the hands of the Republican Party. So a lot a lot of things that might change if Democrats gain control of the House and the Senate in the midterm elections. But other than that,
No,
nothing.
yeah. And I'm popping up comments here if we get to questions, because I'm really trying to be conscious of time. And thanks for staying a bit later. Yeah, because I mean, that's the big thing. And same with like Chrissy Noman, that too. So many things happened. You had Congress people getting tackled for, that
Yeah.
gentleman in California. And
Yeah.
it's like, who has the final thing? I agree, by the way, Kat, more puppies, less humans. 8 billion ladies say no. Just say no. More puppies. People in power. Yeah, common trash. It's Canada's body on its. Yes, we do have a TV channel, but it's nowhere near as exciting as American stuff. It's pretty boring. We don't have government shutdowns. We have three parties. We have the conservatives. I at least give them credit for being honest. They tell you they're a bunch of liars. It's right in the name. We have the liberals. You just have to pop an E in there, and then you've got them honest. And we have the no domestic product party in Canada, the NDP. That's my thought on our politicians in a nutshell. So I'm not slamming anybody else's government. Ours leaves something to be desired. We'll see what Carney does. My husband and I were talking the other day, because there are some things up here you can't always find on the grocery shelves and whatnot, which to me is ridiculous, especially with the tariffs and that change. Prices are still going up. It's like, why, you greedy biatches and other people? Because, prices should be coming down. Now there's this big hoo-ha. Ooh, the provinces can trade amongst themselves. I'm like, why is that suddenly a thing? And why the hell weren't we doing that before? Like, it's like some of the stuff in the States. Why is produce coming up from the States instead of feeding the Americans in the States? And why is our stuff going to the States instead of staying here feeding Canadians? This is why I'm not in business. My head hurts from the stupid of this stuff. Yeah, it's supposed to change, does it? Oh, that's with the hearings. See, I think, do you still have that clown in your post office? It was ages ago when he was in front of Congress, and when it was all the elections are fixed or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know who
I think we have a new guy now, or a new woman. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, guns don't kill people. The government does. I think there's an official. Okay, so BBC has one. Oh, pardon me. Yep, BBC. Yeah, you got to watch the government, because what else can you do with your day? Either wasn't sure thing anymore. Switched to another due to progress. Watching Mark Carney, impressed from all the way over here. Oh, nice. Relief that RPM has. Yeah, there you go. Well, see, ours did himself in. He got a standing ovation in Davos. Then, there went the peace group. But do you have to go get your poochie, Brian?
No, my son's out there.
Okay. Yeah, behave. What's that? Labor started. Keyword may end with theirs. Anything? Labor's been unpopular. That's their party. 5 or 6 to vote. Yeah, see, we have our 3 and then a couple others. We have the Bloc Québécois, who's only in Quebec, and they'll never be the government because they literally are only in Quebec. See, rise and fall was silly. Sympathies through history, time. Sorry if I'm kind of going fast. Oh, little man's from New Mexico, born in fireworks, booms. Oh, there you go. Rebellious past wall history. Rebellious, good with beef. Red lentils. Need to know where I can get that past. All right, take care, Ben. Thanks for joining. All these rebellious food people saying bye. Lentils are underrated. All right, I'm skipping, folks. Sorry. got behind, but I know. Oh, look, there we are. So thank you for all the comments, everybody. I think that's kind of the main ones I had,
Okay.
Brian, was,
Okay,
to
great.
figure out with the files, because there's been so much talk about it and there's so many
Yeah.
issues. And I mean, I know they couldn't release them during the investigation, but there's just so much stuff.
Yeah.
And between AIs that have these fake news channels, and I don't mean like dumbass says fake. I mean they're
No,
literally
I know
AI,
what you mean. Yeah.
and people don't know they're fake. Like
Yeah.
that freaks me out. So
Yeah. That's a whole nother terrifying thing. So
yeah, it is. Well, I'm gonna say thank you so much. I'm gonna
well,
check out
thank you for
my
having
questions.
me.
We'll have
All
to
right.
do this again sometime down
Sure.
the
That'd be
road.
great. That would be great.
Well, thank you so much to the viewers. Thank you so much. I love, the cyber gremlins may screw with me sometimes, but I was wondering if someone was going to show up in the chat and be a dumbass, because I've had that once,
Yeah.
only once. I'm lucky. And I even watched how, because I thought, oh, politics, are we going to, and nope, didn't. So thank you, Mucho. Thanks so much,
Thank you.
everybody. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Brian.
everybody.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And we are going to say, see you later.